Everyone has always told me that they never forget their first Halo experience, and probably that's true, they never do. But for me, my first Halo experience wasn't in playing the game. It was actually in seeing that first trailer that was released for it in an issue of PC Gamer back in 2000. When I watched that 10-minute trailer for a game that I was completely unaware of up to that point, and at the time, most trailers were about 2 to 3 minutes at most, and were very similar to movie trailers where it was spectacle, spectacle, spectacle. Here you had this trailer that set a stage to a universe, and it was something that we had never seen before. And I thought, wow. And it was 10 minutes long. I was interested immediately. When I had heard that the developers got bought out by Microsoft, and that the game was not going to be released on the portable computer, instead it was going to be a launch title for the Xbox, Microsoft's first console, I felt betrayed in a lot of ways. Because I had always been a PC gamer at heart. I hadn't owned a console in a very long time, not since the first original Nintendo. And I felt betrayed because I knew there was no way I could afford to get an Xbox, and that I probably would not be playing the game. So, as my senior year of high school went through, I remember hearing from some of the juniors, and they were all telling me about this game called Halo. And not having played it, I could tell them things like, "Oh yeah, I'm sure it's great for console players," or something like that. But I hadn't actually played it yet. When Gearbox released the game to the PC in 2003, about a year prior to the release of Halo 2. I finally got to sit down and play Halo for the first time. And just playing those first 2 levels, I knew that everything that had been told to me, that everyone had said, was completely right.
What is that thing, Lieutenant?
Hell if I know, but we're landing on it.
Your Honor, she's been hit!
I knew it. The Autumn's accelerating. Keys is going in manual.
Heads up, everyone, this is it. We're entering the ring's atmosphere in 5.
Sure you wouldn't rather take a seat?
We'll be fine.
If I still had fingers, they'd be crossed.
My name is Maniac. As many of you guys know, I am the operator and writer of GameAccess.net. And I have been waiting years at this point to find out what happened to the Master Chief and Cortana. As you can see, I've been collecting Halo stuff for a while, Halo games and things like that, and it's become quite a big part of my collection. This one is the Halo Reach Legendary Edition. This is the Halo 3 Legendary Edition. Really like this one simply because of the extra DVD. I've also got some extra, other stuff here, but one of the ones I'm really proud of, this is the Halo Reach statue that was included. There's also some other stuff that I got. This one I picked up. This is like a Halo wallet. I remember I only picked it up because I'm a dog tag collector, and I remembered, I was like, I don't really care too much about the wallet, but I definitely wanted this set of the Chiefs dog tags, so I picked up that. There's also some other stuff I got here. Obviously, this is the Halo Wars Collector's Edition, and behind that is the Halo Reach Collector's Edition. Somewhere over there I got Halo 2's Collector's Edition. which is probably one of the best, still to this day, probably one of the best collector's editions ever released. There's Halo Reach, and right next to it is the Halo Anniversary, Halo 3 ODST. I mean, you can think about it, all the games that have been released since Halo 3. Here, I'll show you. This is Halo Reach. I'll just pull this out for just a second. Here's Halo 3 ODST. Here's Halo Wars. Right here. And let's grab Halo Anniversary. Now, some of these cases, you guys know that, like I said, for Halo Reach, I've got already the Collector's Edition and the Legendary Edition of that. They were all included in one box. But 4 games here that were released after Halo 3, and none of them continue the story of the Master Chief. Even though like I said, the Master Chief is on this box, but like I said, this is just a remake of Halo 1. It's a good remake, don't get me wrong. A lot of fun to replay and very nostalgic, but did not continue the story, really. Even though there were cutscenes, they didn't really talk about any of that. They didn't really talk about what was the future for Chief War Cortana. I mean, there was also, if you want to include this as well, the Halo Legends disc. This actually did continue the story. It did tell a lot of backstory and side story of the UNSC, the Chief, and some of the other Spartans. But what I liked about this movie was that, this series, this compilation, that it did at least include a few seconds or a minute or two of a story that would have continued with Halo 3, would have continued past Halo 3 in the Origins segment. So I was grateful about that. So yeah, since 2009, Halo content has been coming up, but we haven't heard anything about it about what's been happening with the Chief since 2007. So that's why I'm really looking forward to the Halo 4 release. As I'm sure you guys may know what my early experiences were with the Halo games. Well, after having seen the Halo 2 demo at E3 back in 2003, I also found out that they were bringing Halo to the PC finally, and that it would be out on the PC prior to the release of Halo 2 on Xbox. I mean, Halo 2 itself wasn't coming to the PC, but the original Halo certainly was. And it kind of thought to myself, that would be a good opportunity to finally get a chance to play it. People have been talking about it like crazy up to that point, and I figured, well, since it's coming to the PC and I've got a PC anyway, I owed it to myself to pick it up. So I went to the store when it finally did get released, and I put down the $50 to get Halo on the PC. I find myself enjoying the game so much, as I had already mentioned, that I actually went to the same GameStop where I got Halo for the PC to go about a week before the release of Halo 2 and pick up an Xbox. And I've been happy about that ever since. I cannot tell you how agonizing it has been to wait after that heavy cliffhanger of Halo 3 to finish up and finally find out what happened to him, to continue that story. Pretty much immediately, Halo was the definitive Xbox property, and the Master Chief practically overnight became a mascot of Microsoft, and with very good reason. He was a great character to use. He was iconic visually, and on top of that, he just had a great story. Him and Cortana had a great banter between them. It made for great characters.
Sleep well?
No thanks to your driving, yes.
So you did miss me.
We waited every game development cycle for a new Halo game just to get back and see the Master Chief and Cortana again. The transition from Halo 1 to Halo 2, we waited about 3 or 4 years for that. And we were not disappointed. That was a fantastic game. I loved it quite a bit. This Halo 2 trailer was probably one of my favorite trailers of all time in any video game. I don't know what it is about it. It might have had something to do with Marty O'Donnell's score. It might have had something to do with the visual effects that we're seeing, which were pretty groundbreaking at the time. But I think what really set it for me was the fact of the text scroll. You can see as the trailer goes on, not only are we seeing the Chief with this new technology, but it's also reminding us of everything that we did in the very first game. So you have the juxtaposition of what's to come with what we've already accomplished. I haven't really seen other games do that before this. And well, let's face it, the audio clips, which you can probably hear in the background, and I'll let you hear the best one, is just perfect.
Admiral, tell your men to hold their positions. Reinforcements are on the spoke.
The entire fleet is engaged, Cortana. With respect, what the hell sort of reinforcement have you got?
I would officially consider that the best line in the history of any video game trailer ever. And then, of course, it's punched up with this.
What if you miss?
I mean, if that doesn't pump you, I don't know what does. The Halo 2 ending left on a major cliffhanger. But don't, you know, and then they just announced nothing after that until Halo 3's announcement. But everybody kind of felt that Halo 3 was going to be the end. Halo 3 was going to have that huge resolution to the Halo story. It was going to have, like, it was going to end everything. You know, we were going to find, you know, the world was going to be saved, and we were going to finally have, you know, Chief and Cortana sail off into the sunset or something along those lines. The tagline was "Finish the fight." That was what Halo 3 was all about. And then seeing the ending of Halo 3, we're sure the Covenant has been disbanded and, you know, the universe has been set at peace. The Master Chief is pretty much dead.
For us, the storm has passed. The war is over. But let us never forget those who journeyed into the howling dark and did not return. For their decision required courage beyond measure, sacrifice, and unshakable conviction that their fight, our fight, was elsewhere. As we start to rebuild, this hillside will remain barren, a memorial to heroes fallen. They ennobled all of us, and they shall not be forgotten.
Reset! Up!
I remember how this war started, what your kind did to mine. I can't forgive you, but you have my thanks for standing by him to the end. Hard to believe he's dead.
Were it so easy.
Master Chief, we immediately thought when we first started watching that ending that they had killed the Chief. And it was only until after an after credits sequence, a coda sequence, we found out that the Chief and Cortana were alive, but that they were in a very, 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 very difficult place.
Chief? Can you hear me? I thought I'd lost you too. But you did it. Truth and the Covenant, the Flood, it's finished.
It's finished.
I'll drop a beacon, but it'll be a while before anyone finds us. Years, even. I'll miss you.
Wake me when you need me.
He's not dead, and she's not dead. But still, that's a pretty sucky predicament to leave off your characters with, especially if you were basically saying this was going to be the end of our game. Now again, I'm not complaining. I didn't have much problems with Halo 3's story. I kind of liked it a bit. But we were, as gamers, it was like basically picking up a storybook and only getting about half of it. How is the Chief going to get home? Now, I know what you guys are saying. There have been Halo releases prior to Halo 4. Obviously, Halo 4 is not out yet, but there were several. In fact, actually, it has become kind of almost like a seminal release for Microsoft to do a Halo game every year, whether it be Halo Wars or Halo 3 ODST, Halo Reach, the re-release of Halo 1. It has been seminal that Microsoft would release a new Halo game every year, and has been since 2009. Well, here's the thing. None of those games touched upon... Well, one of those games was a remake. We already, anybody who had that original game obviously can still play it. It was basically just a retelling or a remake of the original game. So nothing new was brought in there except a couple of teasers. For what for maybe what will be going on in the future, but nothing really that, as far as I know, nothing really that touched upon what will be happening with Chief and Cortana. And the other were just all were side stories. Some not even involving the Chief at all. Although again, there were nods. Halo Reach's ending had a nod to the Chief. We still didn't know what the Chief's fate was. The closest we ever got to any type of continuation of the Halo 3 story to see what was going on was a small teaser that was released during the Origins Part 1 and 2 of the Halo Legends series. In 2009, or actually no, I take it back, in 2010, when Microsoft released Halo Legends on DVD and Blu-ray, which was a compilation of several animated features, side stories and things like that, that were all Halo related. The Origins sequence, which was kind of supposed to tell like the backstory of the Covenant War and the and the war with the UNSC and stuff like, in the history of the UNSC and stuff like that, actually probably at that point told the latest part we knew about. It was like we actually got to see, because the story was actually being told by Cortana as she was watching the Chief as he was frozen. That was the closest we had actually seen to any type of after the game. And that we continue the story of Halo 3. And at the very end of Origins, we find out that Cortana is starting to become rampant. She starts to flash red occasionally, which is a sign that maybe her lifespan might be going. So, Chief was still in the same place. Cortana was getting worse. And then and that was it. That was like, Halo 3 came out in 2007. We finally got a bit more of a tidbit about what was going on in 2010. And it didn't look any better. In fact, it looked worse. And now we've been waiting 2 more years since then. Wow. It's been one heck of a wait. And it's been driving me crazy. This place opened probably around 2004. What had happened was that I had just gotten an Xbox, and I didn't quite have any games for it yet, and Halo 2 hadn't yet come out. So what happened was that my mother had just come from this place, and we're usually the last people to get any type of new stores or anything like that. We'd usually have to go pretty far distances to even get even the most basic of necessities. And then they opened this place, and it was pretty nice. You know, it was a pretty nice place. And my mother told me that along with some of the other stores, she said that, oh, that GameStop store, that store you like, they opened one. You should go check it out. And so I did. And I remember going in there for the first time into the new GameStop that had just opened. And I had taken a look at some of the stuff that they had in the shelves, and I loved GameStops. It's just I never had one that was close to me. And what had happened was that I asked them if I could get a copy of Halo Combat Evolved on the Xbox, so I could practice a bit on the original Halo until Halo 2 came out, because I'd only played it on the PC. And what I decided to do instead was they got the copy ready, and they immediately tried to pre-order me for Halo 2. They were adamant that I should pre-order for Halo 2. And I might have actually pre-ordered, but they were being some serious jerks. The clerks were being terrible, actually. And they were, you know, I mean, I had some bad experiences in pre-ordering games up to that point. I had some really bad experiences. Most of the times when I pre-order from somewhere, they would never get the games on time, and I'd have to wait like an extra week, whereas everybody else would get their copies. So I was kind of hesitant to pre-order. And the clerk's attitude wasn't really helping that much. So I picked up my copy of Halo Combat Evolved on the Xbox. And, well, needless to say, I didn't pre-order there. In fact, I did actually pre-order at GameStop. It's not that one. Hey guys, what's the word?
We're ready to go.
Alright, well, I gotta do something first. Now, we're ready.
Let's go.